Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are exploring another crossover between Star Wars and Marvel. This time, Spider-Man is our feature. Let's start today's story on Coruscant. The Jedi Council and Senate have slowly begun hearing whispers of a vigilante operating on the lower levels of Coruscant. The reports have detailed someone swinging throughout the air and leaving people beaten up. The Senate has called the Jedi to locate him. At the council chambers, Anakin and Obi-Wan are tasked with tracking him down. Beginning their search, they organize a purchase of weapons between them and criminals, trying to lure the vigilante into the fold. As the criminals show Skywalker and Kenobi the DC-15A blaster rifles, Spider-Man appears and knocks both criminals to the ground before shooting his webs into Kenobi's face and kicking Anakin to the floor. They hadn't expected him to move so fast. Spider-Man tells the criminals that they can't sell weapons anymore or he will find them again and leave them in a worse condition. Kenobi and Skywalker, still shocked, stare at the person wearing a spandex costume. Spider-Man tells them to stop buying weapons. They don't want to get caught up in any illegal activity. And with that, he starts swinging away. Anakin and Obi-Wan begin their pursuit, using the Force to jump from building to building and try to catch up with him. Spider-Man soon realizes that he is being followed and turns back, ready to fight them. But when he lands, Obi-Wan tells him to calm down. The three of them talk and it's revealed that Spider-Man is doing a good deed on Coruscant. He is helping the poor and disenfranchised. They learn that Spider-Man has super strength and has a strong sense and is just as good of a person. With his permission, Anakin and Obi-Wan take Spider-Man back to the Jedi Temple to meet with the Council. The Council meets Spider-Man, and Plo Koon puts forth the idea of having him join the Council. Windu immediately casts his vote against this idea, saying that the Jedi Order should be reserved for those who are Force sensitive and found as young children. Spider-Man is not Force sensitive from his midi-chlorian test, nor is he a Jedi. But Ki-Adi-Mundi says that he still has strong senses, and even his physical strength is greater than Windu's, greater than anyone all of them had ever met. Different opinions and ideas were put forth, but eventually Yoda agreed with allowing him to join the Order, and once Yoda made up his mind, the Council's mind was also made up. So, Spider-Man joins the Jedi Order. His time in the Order is very unique compared to others. Obviously, he doesn't attend Force class or wield at Lightsaber Academy. He is neither of those things. Instead, with the help of Republic engineers, a broken Kyber crystal is added to the technology of his web slingers. His webs become stronger and he can use them like they are a Kyber blaster. He trains a lot with Anakin and Obi-Wan, who become his makeshift sort of masters. No one really knew how to train him. It was decided that his fighting would be left to him, but the values and what it meant to be a Jedi would be taught. Spider-Man embodied the true values of a Jedi. He was selfless, he gave without thought of reward, and he genuinely wanted to help people. The Clone Wars would begin, and Spider-Man is sent on the battlefield very often. His knowledge of warfare was weak at the beginning, and he had no tactics. For the most part, he followed Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka into battle. Spider-Man became a part of the team, and while the public and separatists referred to him as Spider-Man, his Jedi and clone battalion began calling him Peter. Anakin and Peter developed a partially close bond, and over the course of a few missions, they grew into strong friends. They trusted each other a lot, and this was clear to everyone. However, Spider-Man quickly began to feel as though Anakin was hiding something. During the Battle of Mokana, the clones began to gain an upper hand over the separatists. Spider-Man had led a difficult battle, using his Kyber webs in unison with Anakin's saber to overwhelm and destroy the droids. But when there was a break in the fighting, Anakin snuck away into a nearby room for 30 minutes, before returning. Peter began to notice this pattern for each subsequent war they joined, and very quickly, he knew something was up. He tried to speak to Anakin about it, but he denied any allegations, saying he must have just been sleeping or resting after the battle. But Spider-Man could sense that he wasn't telling the truth. The Chosen One was withholding information. Anakin can shield his senses from other Jedi, so that they can't sense his thoughts and feelings and know when he is hiding stuff. But Spider-Man's spider senses work differently, and to block him sensing that something is wrong is near impossible. During the Battle of Ringo Vendor, Anakin leaves again, and this time, Peter follows him. Using his sticky hands, he climbs onto the roof and opens a hatch in the ceiling to gain a better viewpoint. He hears Anakin speaking to Senator Padme Amidala. Spider-Man's thoughts first went to a variety of places. Was Anakin helping her with a Senate bill? Were they colluding against the Republic together? What were their motives? But then Padme told Anakin that she misses him and that they have been apart for too long, that she misses his love. Anakin Skywalker and Senator Padme Amidala were in a forbidden relationship. When Anakin walks out of the room after speaking to Padme, Spider-Man waits outside, boyish and giddy about what he has just heard. Peter asks Anakin what he was doing, and once again, Anakin said he was just taking a rest. Spider-Man asks why his rest involved Padme. Anakin freezes, and Spider-Man says he heard them in there and knows they are married. Anakin goes to open his mouth, but nothing comes out. He doesn't know what to say. Peter assures Anakin that his secret is safe with him. Anakin had no choice but to put his faith in Peter. The longer Spider-Man kept his secret, the closer the two became, and better friends they were. Anakin finally had someone to talk to about Padme. He shared stuff about their relationship that he could only dream about talking to someone about. Whenever Anakin wanted to speak with her, Peter would distract others so that Anakin could have the time alone with her. Not only did this make them better friends, but it also made Anakin better on the battlefield because his mind could be more focused on the task at hand, not always thinking about how Padme is doing. The council were extremely impressed with how effective they were in battle together and recognized how they just clicked. By the time of Revenge of the Sith, Anakin asked Peter to join Ahsoka on Mandalore whilst he and Obi-Wan go to rescue the Chancellor. Spider-Man and Ahsoka lead the 501st into battle, and they encounter Maul together. The Dathomirian Sith had heard about Spider-Man. He was sort of Folklore in the Outer Rim, the human who could swing with his bare hands and lift up separatist tanks like it was nothing. Maul was very keen on meeting this person. Just like in Revenge of the Sith, Maul would tell them that he engineered the war to defeat Anakin and that he's been groomed as his master's new apprentice. Disregarding what he was saying, Ahsoka and Spider-Man leap into battle together. Spider-Man keeps his distance while Ahsoka takes Maul head on with her lightsabers. Peter begins swinging from the top of the throne room and swinging into Maul, hitting him in the chest and knocking him back. There wasn't much a non-Force user could do in this situation. His kyber webs became his main companion as he fought off Maul. Ahsoka successfully disarms him and leaves him defenseless, allowing Spider-Man to jump in front of him, using his super strength to knock him out cold with a punch. Across the other side of the galaxy, Palpatine is rescued from the invisible hand, but Anakin gets visions of Padme dying in childbirth. This causes him to grow insane searching for a cure. Palpatine tells Anakin the tale of Plagueis and ultimately reveals his identity as Darth Sidious. Anakin doesn't know what to do or who to trust. He escapes Palpatine's office and returns back to his apartment, and unlike in the original timeline, he doesn't tell Mace Windu, but instead, he contacts his best pal, Spider-Man, who is on Mandalore. Peter picks up with enthusiasm, but immediately recognizes that something is wrong. Learning that Palpatine was the Sith Lord is a shock, and Peter tells Anakin about what Maul said to him, about the Sith Lord grooming him to turn to the dark side. He tells Anakin to think of any manipulation tactics that Palpatine has done recently to him. This is where Anakin tells Spider-Man about his nightmares, and about how Palpatine mentioned Darth Plagueis, who could save those from death, but only if he turned to the dark side. I do think Anakin would tell Peter this. If for the last few months Peter has been the one person Anakin can truly trust and fully confide in, he would do the same in this moment of need. With Anakin on the comlink call, Spider-Man goes to Maul and asks if he has ever heard of the name Plagueis. Just the mention of the name sends a chill down Maul's spine, and he screams in defiance, saying Plagueis is dead and he should never mention his cold heart again. Anakin and Peter were confused, but they pressed further. Maul explained that Plagueis was Sidious's master, and just to confirm, Maul explains that he had the ability to save others from death, but he didn't teach it to anyone before he died. Anakin, hearing this, knew that Palpatine had been telling lies. He couldn't save Padme, he was simply trying to lure him into evil. Together, Anakin and Spider-Man call a council meeting where they both project themselves into the center of the circular room. They explain their entire call and what had just happened. Anakin made the decision to reveal his relationship now. It was the only way. Even he knew that this was way too important. Yoda and Windu look at each other, each trying to figure out what the other is thinking. Yoda calls every council member back to Coruscant. This requires their full attention. Spider-Man and Ahsoka begin their journey home with Maul in custody. When Anakin hangs up the call, Palpatine appears right before him, telling him that it's a pity, that he truly believed Anakin would have made a good apprentice. Igniting his lightsaber, the duel begins and they are in Anakin's apartment. Palpatine wanted to see what Anakin was made of, and he began toying with him, switching between his lightsaber styles to see just how good he really was. And Anakin didn't disappoint. He fought hard and fast, using the terrain around him to his advantage. Anakin focused on Form 5 and used his mastery of it to his advantage, but Palpatine was just too good and Anakin was beaten back. When it seemed as though he was on the verge of defeat, Padme returned home from the Senate, completely shocked to see Anakin fighting Palpatine, who was holding a red lightsaber in their living room. Skywalker screams at Padme to run, but it was too late, and Palpatine leaped back and took Padme with him as he fell to the streets below. She was gone. Anakin becomes incredibly distraught and storms the council chambers saying that he has Padme. Yoda calms him, and Windu tells Skywalker to practice restraint. This causes Anakin to lash right back at Windu, who questions the boy on what acting like a child will do to help him save her. Anakin settles his emotions, but he needs answers now. Later that day, after hours of searching for Padme, the entire council arrives back on Coruscant, along with Ahsoka, Spider-Man, and Maul. Palpatine goes to the next Senate meeting, rising in the center of the room with Padme next to him. Everyone is confused and shocked, and Padme was clearly upset, crying and pregnant. Palpatine tells them all that Padme has done something terrible, that she is married to a Jedi, breaking not only the rules of the Senate to interfere in Jedi affairs, but also causing that Jedi, Anakin Skywalker, to break the Jedi Code. Word gets sent to the council immediately that Palpatine is in the Senate with Padme, and everyone goes immediately. Palpatine continues to speak about what loyalty should mean to the Republic, and how Padme has disregarded the needs and safety of the people so that she can enjoy a romantic relationship. That it's pathetic. The Jedi arrive before the end of the Chancellor's speech, stepping into the center of the arena with the captured Maul. The Jedi announce to the Senate not to listen to his lies any longer. They reveal that Palpatine is the Sith Lord, that he has orchestrated the Clone Wars, and that it is because of him that trillions of people have died. No one could believe it. Palpatine smiled. This was it. It would be the make or break moment for whether the galaxy would be his. He had failed to bring Anakin to his side, so the rest was left up to him. Palpatine ignites his red lightsaber and goes to strike Padme down, but Spider-Man quickly fires a kyber crystal web, which hits Palpatine's saber and causes him to bounce back, giving the same effect as if another saber had clashed against it. This gives the Jedi Council enough time to ignite their sabers and leap forward. Palpatine pushes Padme down and executes Order 66 as a massive horde of clone troopers, primarily from the Coruscant Guard, storm into the chamber and begin firing at the Jedi. As the Jedi deflect blaster bolts, many bolts went straight past them and hit senators on the other side of the room, Chaos erupted as senators screamed and tried to get out, pushing past each other with no care for anyone else. Anakin, Spider-Man, and Windu engage Palpatine as the rest of the council coordinate a defense against the clones. The wide area in the Senate room becomes Spider-Man's domain as he swung all around, shooting clones to the floor and circling back towards Palpatine, kicking him in the face before hitting him with a web on his ankle, which caused him to be stuck to the floor. He couldn't move any longer as Anakin and Windu pressed forward. The Sith Lord was now in a defensive and struggled to move his blade fast enough to block all the right angles. As Spider-Man swung around again, he shot 2 more webs, hitting Palpatine on the other ankle and across his arms so that he couldn't move as fast. The spider didn't stop. Web after web connected with Palpatine as he was closer to defeat. As Anakin lunged to make the final move, Palpatine blocked, giving Spider-Man enough of an opportunity to shoot him in the chest and kill Darth Sidious. With the entire council on Coruscant, they moved to the Jedi Temple where they would be able to lead a defense against the clones. Peace would be assured for the galaxy. Following the attack, Anakin is allowed to remain in the Order and he is assisted with ensuring that Padme survives the pregnancy, which she does, and they welcome twins who will join the Jedi Order from the moment they can walk. Alongside Anakin, Spider-Man is granted the rank of Master and given a seat on the council after Kit Fisto died in the final battle. He was the first non-force sensitive being to be allowed on the council. With his increased influence, Spider-Man started a movement in order to spend time helping protect everyday people from criminals. He called it the Friendly Neighborhood Jedi Program, where in their spare time, Jedi went to the lower levels of Coruscant to help people. This became very effective and was a reform that would grow into one of the most well-liked things the Jedi had ever done. In fact, it almost single-handedly restored the public's faith in the Jedi Order following the war, where they trusted them the least. And so, Spider-Man had joined the Jedi and became a very well-liked hero. Although he didn't have the Force or a lightsaber, he was a Jedi Master, and he dedicated his life to protecting those in the Star Wars galaxy. Peace and stability would reign in the galaxy as the Republic wins the Clone Wars. Thanks for watching today's video. Head over to Fantasy Sabers for the best NeoPixels on the market. You won't be disappointed. And be sure to check out our membership program where you can get exclusive content and all of our what ifs early.